Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TechRaptor podcast. I'm Robert Scarpanito, your features editor.
Andrew Otten, editor-in-chief.
Rutledge Doggett, site founder.
Andrew Stretch, mouthful editor.
Gross. This week, we're talking about Sifu, and we're going to talk about Lost Ark later today. But first, let's get into some news, like the big Nintendo Direct, where Kirby eats everything.
Very unlike him. Very out of character.
Yeah, no, this is the first time, like, it's his kind of his evolution, right? Like, where he's finally eating stuff.
Nice to see his evolution as a character. You know, that arc is finally coming to an end.
Mm-hmm. Like, ever since his debut in Smash. Now
he's Smash characters. Really cool to see Smash characters get their own games.
Right. Yeah, I'd love to see Captain Falcon in one someday, but...
That's crazy.
That's never going to happen.
I don't think he's strong enough to carry a franchise.
Yeah.
You're right.
Neither does Nintendo.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I mean, so the Nintendo Direct happened last Wednesday. Lots of big news dropped there. Well, like, not big news, right? Like, there was no Breath of the Wild 2, but there was a lot of, like, little big news. That makes sense.
I think that the best thing that came out of the Nintendo Direct is just that format and pacing is on point. Mm-hmm. Even if it is not something that you are, like, actively interested in, you know that there's something else just around the corner. And that 40 minutes was jam-packed and flew by. It was a lot of fun.
A lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, the thing that struck me, actually, was that... Because they opened it up at first with that, like, due to COVID-19, like, these dates aren't necessarily set in stone kind of disclaimer. I don't remember if they did that with their last one, but I just found that kind of interesting that, like, they're being really transparent about that.
And they've done that, and I think they've done that even on all of, like, the Smash Directs that they've had.
Yeah, I feel like that they've had that as a message for a little while.
That's just been a Nintendo boilerplate.
And what's funny is I can't think of any of them that have missed the date.
Yeah, I mean, they're usually pretty
once they
solid
put out a
it.
date, anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they opened that Direct with Fire Emblem, which I was at first very excited about until I saw the name Warriors.
They just made it better.
Did it really?
Well, how's it not better?
I don't know. I mean, I'm very hit or miss with Musou games. I feel like the only one I have liked is the Persona one. And I played Fire Emblem Warriors. So.
I would argue that Persona 5 Strikers is like Musou-like, but not a Musou, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and maybe that's why I like it.
Yeah, it's very fringe.
This is slanderous.
I know, you and your Dynasty Warriors fanhood. I'm sorry.
Dynasty Warriors 4 is the greatest game of all time. We all accept that as fact.
Of course, yeah.
Yep. So these games that try to emulate them, you know, they have inherent greatness within them as they try to copy its formula.
Like, it's almost like Elex is almost as good as Dynasty Warriors 4, but you know.
You know what? You guys can do the rest of this without me. I'm not saying anything else.
Andrew will die on the hill that Elex is not good, and
it's not.
I think this is going to go forever. We're going to be still running this site 20 years from now, and you and I are still going to be shit talking Elex.
Well, I told you, I said that Elex wasn't a good video game. Now we're up to Elex 12, and it's still shit.
Oh, man, if that franchise exists that long, just fucking end me.
That's, you know, some people might feel that way about Dynasty Warriors.
Yo, actually,
they've all been Warriors
games.
This whole thing just came full circle.
No. I will agree. There are too many Dynasty Warrior games.
Yes, we're getting 9 Empires soon.
Yeah, one too many.
One too many.
So Dynasty Warriors 8 is
there
the good one.
Zero.
That's the hill you're
Zero.
Zero. What the?
Is that the prequel, Dynasty Warriors 0, like Yakuza 0?
I don't know. I don't even know how many Dynasty Warriors games there are. I've never played one.
Dude, how great would that be if there was like your fucking Lu Bu, Yakuza 0, establishing the legend of Lu Bu?
That'd be pretty rad.
I would pay down for that game.
Oh, yeah. Like, give the Dynasty Warriors IP to Ryuga Gotoku Studios and just let them do what they want.
Oh my god, if they could make that style of game with the fucking nonsense characters that are in Dynasty Warriors and the guitar riffs just randomly going, that would be amazing.
That'd be rad. But Fire Emblem Warriors, Three Hopes. It's basically a Three Houses spinoff, right? Because it's
Three
not
Hopes.
like canon. Yeah, well, yeah. Three Hopes is the spinoff of it, but it's based on the Three Houses characters.
Yeah.
It's pretty much they saw what they were able to do with
Age of
that
Calamity.
latest Zelda Breath of the Wild, Age of Calamity. We're just like, yeah, like let's spin off another one.
Mhm.
Like I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Super Mario Odyssey Muso title now.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I'd love that, actually. I just want to see Mario like beat the shit out of a bunch of Goombas.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have all of the rabbits as their own thing. That'd be great.
Oh,
People would play it.
I don't want rabbits.
Yeah. Well, Mario isn't getting a Muso. Instead, he's getting a Strikers game. We're getting
Hell
Mario
yeah.
Strikers Battle League. That game looks pretty stylish as hell. Like the thing they do where like right before they spike the ball down, where like freeze
Yeah.
frames. It's cool shit.
I'm here
Dude,
for it.
Strikers was great. It's been people have been wanting like a sequel to that forever. It's one of the funner Mario sports games. Like Mario sports games are always like pretty cool, like because they're not like 1-to-1 sims of it, but they always do some weird like shit with it. This looks like that. Always down for it.
That's
It's
how-
always
that's
like
how I always felt
everything is
about-
normal. Everything is normal. Everything has strategy. It plays very similar to other sport games, but then there's power ups and super shots and
Yep.
stuff. It's the same with like Mario Tennis and stuff. I think is the other big standout.
Yep.
That's how I always felt about the like NFL Blitz games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
In terms
it's got
of
the
like
same,
the
same
gameplay,
energy.
yeah, exact same energy where it's kind of goofy, and takes itself, not very seriously. So it's just it was always fun as a kid being in the arcade, just shit stomping people in NFL Blitz.
Right. Although if simulated sports is more your alley, we are also getting fucking MLB The Show. Sony developed MLB The Show. Day one Game Pass Day 1 exclusive Sony developed MLB The Show is coming to Nintendo Switch.
That's
Amazing.
wild.
I
It was
can't
not on my bingo
wait.
card.
Same. Like imagine you're gonna boot up your Switch and the PlayStation Studios logo is gonna show up.
It's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean-
that's all really.
You can currently boot up your Switch and load up multiple games with the Xbox logo, but it always feels so weird coming from Sony.
Mm-hmm. Because Sony's
Just-
so prestige.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
especially with MLB The Show being like this cornerstone title that has always been Sony.
Mhm.
Just such a big title in the baseball world.
I mean, it's their
Yeah.
only game.
That's really all I had to say about it. I just find it very funny that of all of PlayStation's, IP, this is the one that's just kind of getting shoveled around everywhere in a way.
Yeah, it makes sense though. Sports
Yeah.
game.
Mm-hmm. So Nintendo also revealed a bunch of like remake / HD remaster sort of stuff. One that kind of stood out was Front Mission, because I forgot about Front Mission until
Yeah.
Nintendo was like, we have a Front Mission remake.
That was such a weird announcement. Like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
I
And not
heard
just
that
Front
name.
Mission, but 2 as well. Like it's coming in the future.
Yeah. Like, we already made the remake of 1, and we know that's going to be so successful. We're making another one. We're doing the second one. So,
Yeah,
I
this
mean,
was-
it's not a surprise.
It was definitely one of the weirder announcements for it to go like, boom, Fire Emblem, big Nintendo tentpole. Boom, Mario, big Nintendo tentpole. Nondescript mechs in a tactics RPG game.
Yeah. Yeah, they turned their Fire Emblem into a Warriors, and then they're getting new turn-based tactics.
Yeah, now
here
this
with
is
Front
Mech,
Mission.
Mech Warrior, right? That's what this is.
This is Mech Warrior 6, yeah.
Okay.
Isn't there already a game just called Mech Warrior?
That's what I was
Yeah.
saying. As a series.
Okay.
That's the joke.
Well, moving on.
The
Cut
front
it in
mission
post.
thing, there's it feels like there's been a lot of games like trying to chase that mech thing. Like they haven't been successful at it. So seeing that come around again is not super surprising, I guess.
Do you guys remember Damon X Machina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was forgettable.
I've got friends who really enjoyed it, but I just think like if you weren't in the mindset to play an even like semi mech game, because I think mechs were like only what you were fighting, or mechs were only like a portion part of it. But I just if it wasn't something that was immediately on your radar, then, and that hit Game Pass as well. But it's probably just, not really something that clicked with a lot of people.
Maybe, yeah. We got a lot of kart news. We've got Disney Kart is happening. Disney Speedstorm is the name of it.
I didn't see Sora, and that is a travesty.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much every single other character they showed off was a character who has already been in a Kingdom Hearts world.
Right.
And the difference between releasing a free-to-play kart game on multiple platforms and naming it Disney Speedstorm versus a Kingdom Hearts Racing, that's such a mess.
I feel like there's a lot more licensing agreements that have to go into a Kingdom Hearts Racing.
No, you just get Sora. That's it. Just get Squeenix to say, yeah, you can use Sora and the logo, I guess.
Nintendo's already claimed Sora for Smash, though.
Yeah, well, does that make it Kingdom Hearts Smash now? Is that
actually?
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts Fighting?
No, it would still be Kingdom Hearts because it's actually, yeah. At what point do you have too much Smash in my Kingdom Hearts? That sentence just came out wrong.
If you ask me, there's not enough Smash in Kingdom Hearts.
That's true.
It could use a lot more Smash.
I don't know. I'm sure you can find plenty of fanfic websites where you will get plenty of Smash in your Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. So this Disney Speedstorm game is developed by Gameloft, right? And aren't they
well known for high quality titles.
Yeah.
Well, they're like the Asphalt devs, right?
I think.
Are they?
Yeah. The Asphalt games have definitely been smaller titles, but I think there was an Asphalt game that was like a launch title for the 3DS. They've been fun games. They genuinely have pretty good physics. They've kind of the Asphalt titles have moved into the mobile game space, but into like that weird premium mobile space. Like I know that you can play the Asphalt games with motion controls on the Apple TVs and stuff. So that's honestly part of the big push from Apple to get into the more experienced gaming spaces, or at least it was before they're now having to compete with Game Pass and stuff on mobile devices, so like Fortnite.
Right.
So I have high hopes for it. In all honesty, it's going to be a free-to-play title, so we'll see which parts of the games they pick and choose and cut around to release a free experience, or how you have to gotcha car parts or characters.
Could you imagine oh yeah, I just rolled a 4-star Mickey, but your friend rolled a 5-star Spring Festival Mickey?
You're just describing Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key.
Yeah, or
the
Fire
metal
Emblem
system
Heroes.
there. Yeah, that doesn't even faze me nowadays, and that's kind of sad.
I hate games. Fucking suck. You know what? We should cover something else. This is
what
what
the
the
future
talk
is. Anymore. What happened to that?
This is that's so frustrating.
You're really upsetting Old Man Otten.
I'm gonna go yell at that cloud some more.
Yeah.
Back in my day, Time Crisis cost a nickel.
Are you gonna yell at the X Cloud or real clouds?
I don't understand the cloud, so all of them.
Old man shakes fist at someone else's computer.
Man, someone needs to pitch that to hard drive. Old man yells at X Cloud.
Oh, I'm sure it's been done.
Probably.
Something.
In other karting news, the other major kart game on Nintendo, that little known indie thing, Mario
Chocobo
Kart
GP?
8. That's the one. Thank you. You stole the words right out of my mouth. Isn't that coming out soon and/or is already out?
Yeah, that one also should have Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
It should.
Yeah, he should. Sora should just be in every game. To be clear,
Should be.
yeah, including the Front Mission remake.
But imagine a front mission world in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, why isn't there one?
Yeah.
But Mario Kart 8 is getting 48 new tracks.
That's just insane.
It's nuts, right? The first, it's going to be in 6 waves. I think the first wave hits mid-March, March 18th, I think.
How many total tracks does Mario Kart 8 have currently?
4 times 12. 48.
That's how much it currently has?
Yeah,
So
including all the DLC.
it's doubling the amount of tracks.
If
Yep.
it was
DLC.
either 40 or 48. I'm forgetting exactly,
Okay.
but yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, so it's doubling or even more than what is currently in there. And honestly, I am cool with this because that's basically turning Mario Kart 8 into more of a platform instead of an entry, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like
so we
that-
don't have to pay another $60 and then more again. It's just
Right.
get this DLC, and if you have the stupid whatever Switch Online expansion pack, expansion main pack, as he would call it, or something. I don't know.
It does currently have 48.
You get it for free. Comes with it. It's
Yeah,
free.
well, you get it for free. Asterisk.
No, it's free. If you have that
For
thing,
free.
it's free.
Read the fine print.
I think that that's really cool. I will admit, while I've loved playing Mario Kart games, getting out of college and not having just people consistently within like dorm room walking distance of me, I've definitely played a lot less Mario Kart in the past 5-6 years. But I think that's neat. And yeah, as you said, it builds it up as a platform. Like, in a dumb comparison, this is like the equivalent of like the Master Chief Collection for Mario Kart. I think I read somewhere that adding these 48 tracks, because they're also, I don't believe that they're actually new tracks.
Yeah, it's like remakes of.
All of them are like remakes and ports, including of the currently ongoing mobile game for Mario Kart.
Oh, that's
like
right. I forgot that
That
thing.
Asakusa Tokyo track is based off the mobile game. But I think I read somewhere that, with the 48 tracks that Mario Kart 8 already had, and adding these 48 returning tracks, it means that Mario Kart 8 will have like over 60% of the total number of Mario Kart tracks, like ever.
Whoa.
So it's like, well, if you're gonna like bring everything forward, I mean, 7 on the 3DS was fun, had the weird glider gimmick that was like stolen from Diddy Kong Racing, or like the Sonic Transformed series. But I think, Mario Kart 8 is the best Mario Kart. Some would argue Double Dash. But I think in terms
nostalgia
of
talking.
yeah.
I mean, but I think even as of right now, Mario Kart 8 is probably one of the best, if not the best, Mario Kart experience.
Or probably the best kart racing experience. Like, I love Crash
No
Team
question.
Racing, or Speed Freaks. Shout out to that PlayStation 1 gem. But this is like the ultimate kart, like arcadey kart racing game. Got the best physics, the best driving, and they're about to double its value for quote unquote no additional cost if you've already purchased the online pass.
Well, what's crazy about it too is like these 48 tracks are coming out over the next couple years, right? So by the time they're all out, Mario Kart 8 will be 10 years old.
Yeah.
Which is pretty wild.
Not as old as Star Citizen.
True.
That's right.
True. Well, it's hard to compete with the grandeur of Star Citizen. Of course.
True.
Something else to consider too, if we're talking about that expansion pass, right, is I remember when Nintendo first announced it, right? I think generally on this pod we were a little like, it seems all right because it comes with all those Nintendo 64 games. Well, not all those, just some Nintendo 64.
You made it sound like a lot.
it's like
not
10.
very many.
But also that Happy Home DLC, the Animal Crossing one, right?
Yeah.
Happy Home
And-
Paradise.
Yeah, and I remember we were all like, oh, I mean, I guess if you're really in Animal Crossing, but if you're not, I mean, is it worth the extra money? But now with this Mario Kart thing and the Happy Home and all those N64, like I'm sensing Nintendo like building real value in this, right?
Finally, it's starting to get there.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if they retroactively added all of the Smash DLC as well.
Or the Zelda Breath of the Wild DLC.
Yeah. Like, there's definitely some
That'd be wild.
stuff in there that they could continue to gear up. Now we just need Game Pass on the Switch.
Yeah.
There we go.
Or
I've got my mention in.
I could even imagine like okay, so Switch Sports, that's coming, the Wii Sports but for Switch, right?
Finally. Took
Finally.
forever. That's
5
so weird.
years. But I
You
could
mean
see
legs?
Legs. I could see them adding content like expansion pass for that, maybe even.
I
You
don't
know?
maybe.
New games.
Mm-hmm.
Switch. I mean, Wii Sports is fun. So Switch Sports. I mean, it'll just be. It's a good fuck around time.
I can't wait to
adding
go
the
bowling
online
again.
play.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I miss Wii bowling. Like that was genuinely like, all right, I'd be down for that.
Just don't even change anything about it. Just keep Wii Bowling. Wii Bowling was somehow
It'll just look a little
probably
nicer.
one of the top 10 experiences for the entire life cycle of the.
It was, and it was like
of the
everybody played it. Like my grandparents played it. Like the little kid, like everybody was in on it.
Yeah. And like when I think of, because you know the Wii used to be the best-selling home console, right?
Yeah.
When I think of that, I always think of it's because of Wii Sports. Because like even the most casual of casual people, like your grandma probably wouldn't play Call of Duty, but she would probably play Wii Sports, right?
That's it.
And now the Switch has overtaken the Wii's lifetime sales recently, right? And that's
Did it?
without, I think so, right? I remember seeing
I think it took
I
over
would
the
be.
Wii U's
Oh,
lifetime sales.
I think it did.
Well,
The Wii
that
U
was a
pretty
while
early
ago.
on. If it
Okay.
blew past the Wii already, that's insane. Because the Wii's like over 100 million.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to double check that. But I mean, either way, like Switch Sports, like Wii Sports 2 basically coming into the game, like I think the Switch is going to continue to sell, even though there's like some concern among like the more hardcore gamers of, you know, oh, are these games running well? Like, is the Switch strong enough anymore? Like, that doesn't matter, I think, when it comes to this.
The Switch has surpassed the Wii.
It has. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
103.54 million units as of December 31st.
Still got a ways to go to catch the PlayStation 2. That'll be a big day. Whoever dethrones that, it's gonna be nuts.
Right. But I mean, think about it. That the Switch did that to the Wii before getting Switch Sports.
Yeah.
And now Switch Sports is on the way.
And like, there was a ton of time for the Wii's like life cycle that it was like $100.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it for nothing.
Yeah, meanwhile, it's like, I think Nintendo's still kind of like struggling to keep Switches on the shelf, right? Like, they're still selling at full price, you know?
It's still like it. I think it almost outsold like the new, PlayStation 5 and Xbox in some places. It's like, that's so crazy. It's 5 years old next month.
Yeah.
Wow, is it really 5? Jesus.
5 years old next month.
March 3rd.
Wow.
Yeah. I wonder if it's going to be a, $60 or $50, $60, $70 game, a sports game.
Oh, probably.
I'm sure.
I'd say 60.
Yeah, I mean, if they made 1-2 Switch $60 on
That's
launch,
true.
this is going to be $60.
That's true.
Right.
I forgot about 1-2 Switch.
How could you?
Another kind of interesting thing about, to go back, well, I guess to the life cycle of the Switch and the Mario Kart 8 plan is that means that we know that Nintendo has the confidence to continue making and putting first-party Mario Kart content for at least the next 2 years. Mm-hmm. So anyone who had been like looking at the Switch and had been thinking, well, when is Switch 2 going to come out? When is whatever Nintendo's next experiment of a console going to be? Just the fact that Mario Kart 8 has that, next 2 years planned out worth of content really kind of, tells people like we're here. Like Nintendo Switch will be around for a while. If you haven't gotten one because you're thinking of waiting, don't bother waiting. Just hop on now.
But then that brings up the next question, right? Of like 2024 hits. Can Nintendo afford to announce a brand new experimental console that isn't backwards compatible? I'm not so sure.
I think they can.
Let me
so?
answer that with a single word: cloud.
Well, it's and
you can stream all of your Switch games to the next Nintendo console that will have no screen. It will transmit directly to your brain.
They're working with Elon Musk.
People buy a Nintendo console to play Nintendo games, and the Nintendo games always sell crazy. What's it? The best-selling Switch game is Mario Kart, if I'm not mistaken, by like a lot.
Either that or Smash.
I'm pretty positive it's Mario Kart. Like it's something like 40, 50 million of them or something like that.
Yeah.
So a Nintendo console is always going to live by their first-party stuff. They're never going to need the other stuff. Backwards compatible, I don't even think they're going to need necessarily because they've been so resistant to it so far. Anyway.
Well, what do you mean? We just got 2 huge hits, Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings. Is that what they've renamed Mother?
Something.
Yep.
So
that's huge.
I don't know if I'd call that backwards compatible. more like begrudging. Fine, we'll give you this kind of energy, you know.
And they'll be whatever comes next. They'll be just fine with like, here's the port of this popular Switch game onto the new console.
No, I will say counterpoint to that though is, the last time Nintendo had a gangbuster platform, it was the Wii. And then the Wii U, despite its poor sales, was pretty like, yeah, you can slap any Wii disc in here and play it.
Yeah, true. I mean, really, yeah, it's just like the Switch's shift back to cartridges and solid state media was, really going to be the big thing that caused issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Wii U had a lot of problems with
everything.
Why it ended the way it did. I think one of the biggest ones just the name, which is so weird.
Yeah, no one could tell if it was a new console or just the peripheral.
Mm-hmm. Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers edition. Anyone here excited about that?
I'm down for that. I've played Chrono Trigger. It's fantastic. Never got around to Chrono Cross, but I've always wanted to. So this is the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, it's a good time for it.
That's great. But what's even better about this news is that so far, that NVIDIA leak has been on the fucking money.
Which means Final Fantasy IX?
Which means potential Final Fantasy IX remake is in the cards.
Yes.
And a Final Fantasy Tactics remaster.
Yeah, that I'm interested in.
Yeah,
I've never played Tactics, but
Tactics probably has the best story in a Final Fantasy game.
Even more than 14?
So I haven't played all the way through 14, so I can't say. But Tactics story is fantastic.
Okay. Oh, so fingers crossed those happen.
Right? Yeah, that'd be great because it's been right on everything else.
Final Fantasy IX remaster would be
remake, so it's getting like the Final Fantasy VII remake treatment, supposedly. If that would according to this leak,
absolutely crazy.
I'm here
for it.
Hell yeah!
I kind of just want them to get on with making more Final Fantasy VII before they move on.
Well, don't worry, they're both.
Yeah,
well, they're juggling 16 too. Don't forget.
Who wants to see a 4K Steiner? You know what I mean? Man. That goofy motherfucker.
Fucking, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Quina?
Yeah, just eating weird shit. I'm down for it.
9 was actually one of the Final Fantasy games that I never played.
Bro,
it's the best one.
I just know about VV. That's about it.
You can play the original on Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think I know about. I mean, I don't think that I played 5, and I don't think that I played 9, but I think I've played and completed every single other Final Fantasy. But just 9 has been a blank spot.
9 might have one of the more like classical fantasy like games, like straight up fantasy going on in it.
Who's the main character in 9?
Zidane.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Tailboy.
Oh, maybe I did start that. I think I started that when it was on Game Pass.
Oh, it was on Game Pass, yeah.
One thing that does make it like really hard to get through or to go back to is that like the battle animations will take like an hour, and you're like, oh yeah.
I remember seeing like in an AGDQ a while ago, someone speed ran that game. The speed run is still 9 hours and 40 minutes long.
Yep,
it's a great game.
It is a long game. It is a great game. It's
fantastic.
A long game.
I always love
spent so much time digging for shit with the chocobo. My God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
But you got to listen to the chocobo music the whole time.
Oh yeah. Was it Viva la Flamenco? I think is the song. I love 9's OST, so I'll just turn it on sometimes.
Nice.
Yeah. Hopefully that NVIDIA leak continues going.
Yes, please.
We're also getting more.
Revisit that on the anniversary of whenever it came out and be like, what has actually been released and what is still on the way. I think there's definitely been more hits.
Right. We're also getting more JRPGs. We're getting Live Alive.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for that.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that? Because I have no context.
So
for
Live
this.
Alive, I think, is something that a lot of people don't know about, and I barely knew about. Like it, hit an old memory. I was like, oh man, I remember reading about this forever ago. Because it's a Square made JRPG for the SNES way back in the day that never made it west. So it was Japan only. Never got localized. So the fact that it's getting not only localized but the HD 2D remake treatment is kind of wild. But what's interesting about it is it's I think it takes place, and I could get the numbers wrong, but like it takes place in like 7 different timelines, and each timeline is like its own contained game in some way with its own unique mechanics, and apparently they all come together in the 8th, like not necessarily timeline, but the 8th I should say 7 time periods, not timelines. So they're all just different time periods of the same story. And then all the mechanics come together in that 8th story, like the end of the game, and marry together into a cohesive whole. So basically, it Project or Octopath Traveler, Octopath, when came out 20 plus years beforehand. It's what Octopath I wanted it to be, but it did not end up being. And a ton of people that are like way into JRPGs are like they were blown away that it came at all. Okay, it was getting released. Because apparently it's pretty well loved, just never made it west.
Right.
And it's just got a bunch of unique ideas that are still unique today, even though it's a game that's 20-something years old, that not a lot of games do. And so I'm definitely down to try it. It seems very exciting.
Okay. Yeah, that does sound interesting, because I was a little disappointed in Octopath Traveler, because Octopath just felt like 8 separate games.
Yep.
And that's it. Like, nothing comes together. They're just 8 separate games.
Nothing comes together. It's got weird dialogue.
Yeah, so the fact that this one is like, okay, but there's this bigger arc that ties everything together, I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I'm into
Good
that.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Kirby's a car now.
Mouthful mode is a weird thing.
Yeah. Are you struggling?
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, all right, they went for it. Okay.
Hey, Nintendo's innocent and pure. Whatever dirty thoughts you're having is your fault.
Yeah.
Right. My bad. I'm so sorry.
No, because I watching the trailers and like the things they were showing off, they showed off the little fox creatures. I'm like, oh, those things look so cute. Why is everything so goddamn cute in this game? And then you see the car, and I don't know how to explain it, but there's something about the cinematography of that shot where he's going to eat the car before he eats the car. Right? Like, it's centered, and you're just like, that's going in Kirby's mouth, isn't it?
Oh, no.
And then he does it.
Kirby's like the kid that like will pick up a dirty penny and put it in its mouth, and you want to like slap it out of the kid's hand, but you can't. And he gets away with it anyway. He just eats whatever he sees.
If you try to slap him, he'll eat you.
Yeah.
But when the kid tries to eat the penny, it's not going into a pocket dimension that has been
True.
Foil of other eldritch beings.
Yeah.
That's right. We need to do our Kirby lore podcast.
I think what frightens me the most and intrigues me the most about it is it's not like Kirby eats the car and transforms into a Kirby car like Morgana from Persona. He just becomes like a car cover. He just kind of flattens and
he's
like
stretched over it is very unnerving to look at. 'Cause I'm looking at the screenshot now,
It's just
and
a
it's
hat.
like, yeah, but like that's like flesh like stretched out over something in a thin layer. That's fucking weird.
And you can still see the car under it.
Yeah.
Like you see the tires and the
bumper
rusty
sticking out.
Yeah.
I think this game has just continually had me hot and cold. At first I was super excited thinking like, okay, cool. An open world Kirby game, like, Superstar Saga, but a 3D open world game. That sounds awesome. I'd love to play that. And then it's just 3D levels. Like, it's whatever. And then they've now shown this again. And it's like, well, the mouthful mode is fun, but I really love like the almost RPG leveling up of the hat abilities.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of Kirby 64, which is the only Kirby game that I've really been bothered to get to the end of, was that you could combine two different powers. Like if you got the sword power up and then you got the fire power up, suddenly you have a flaming sword. Or if you got like two of the same abilities, then it would, be an even bigger something or other.
Right.
So having that ability, to upgrade, same with, I'm that like, ooh, a piece of candy kind of gamer. So, just to know that you can, get your normal fireball power up, but then you can level it up and it's, purple fire. And then you can level it up again and you're now a dragon fire and you can fly around. It's like, that's cool. Like, I love seeing that progression.
Right. It's like always unlocking your imagination kind of.
Yeah. So I'm back on the, I'm excited for Kirby bandwagon.
Yeah. For me, it's, I was excited about this game. Like, and I guess not excited, but like I was looking forward to it. Right. Because it seemed like this Breath of the Wild moment, as they say, for Kirby. So I was interested in that. And then the mouthful mode, I think, is like sealed the deal for me, because it's basically like, how do you put Cappy in your game without putting Cappy in your game? And I'm here for that energy, because like I think that's still where Nintendo shines so brightly, where they can just have those inventive ideas. Like, I mean, like 5 years later, Cappy is still a fucking clever game mechanic, right? Because it just constantly makes you think, what can I throw this at and what can I transform into, right? And I get that same feeling here of mouthful mode, where it's like, okay, I can now traverse in so many different ways, and how, like, what can I eat, right? What can I suck into Kirby's mouth?
Well, and it's like fully embracing the character. Like, what is Kirby known for? Eating shit. So like, let's just have him eat weird stuff and do it in weird way. Like that's the natural. Yeah, that's the natural progression of what you do with him. And that they're embracing it is great. And I think that's very, very good comparison with Cappy, and what seems to be what they're doing here too is what's so brilliant about Cappy is that it's so a simple mechanic to instantly engage with and understand, that does so much with so little. And changes so much. If it works like Cappy did, that's pretty great.
Yeah. Another cool side effect of Cappy, is that there's also like, there are technically ways to do things without Cappy as well. Like one of the really cool speedrunning categories for Odyssey is low cap %, which is throughout the entirety of Super Mario Odyssey, you only capture 3 times.
Ooh. Damn.
And that's just super fun to watch and really cool to see like how they get around that.
Yeah.
So, knowing speedrunners and stuff, the fact that there's a mouthful mode could also mean that there's some really cool stuff that could happen in a speedrun to get around mouthful.
Low mouth %.
Yeah.
Empty stomach run.
Nintendo's one more thing in this direct was Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which isn't necessarily, like, to me it wasn't necessarily surprising, I guess. Like,
it's a big series.
Yeah, I'm feeling Nintendo's putting a lot of eggs in that basket, because that's kind of their, I mean, I don't want to say flagship because that sounds maybe too big, but that's their JRPG, like that's the Nintendo Final Fantasy. So that's
people
cool.
Are pumped for it. People like it. It's a series I've never gotten around to picking up, but I know people love it a lot. So to see the next one.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, I know I'm not the biggest fan of it. I have tried both 1 and 2, and I find it hard to really get into the gameplay. This is the one with the
really bad British accents, right?
All of them have it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's the main thing I remember about trying the first one on the Wii, right?
Yeah, where he's just like backslash, /,
and I was like, oh boy,
that's what I gotta deal with this the whole time. Yeah. Yeah, and they never shut up during combat too. So just no matter what's happening on screen, you always have fucking Shulk being like, "You're right as Ryan," and it's like, okay, dude, come on, just shut up.
Do they yell out the abilities?
Yeah, he's always like backslash, /.
Oh man, that's why I was realizing that when I was playing Tales of Arise the other day. I was like, why is this such a big thing in like JRPGs or Japanese game where like I gotta yell out the weird fucking name for this ability that I'm using.
That's just
Anime.
anime.
I mean, why
Yeah.
not?
I don't know. It's just every time I'm like, why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping Xenoblade 3 is pretty cool. I mean, it looks very pretty, right? And I'm curious what they're going to do with the gameplay, because one was very MMO-y, right? Like you scroll through your abilities and like do them live in an MMO way. The second one felt a little more like I don't know, rhythm-y almost, like where you have to like time it with the combos. So I wonder if they're going to change that up for 3 or just kind of refine 2 or.
It'll probably be very, once Sora shows up, it'll become very familiar to you.
Right. And the rest of the Smash roster.
Yeah. Nomura, I heard, is involved.
You joke, but I really think that there's a good idea in there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the
You
three
just
of
need
us
to go
will
wait in an
always say
elevator.
that.
Yeah, just hang around in elevators in Tokyo until you run into a Disney or a Square Enix dev.
I feel like if me or you were to pitch to one another, like, you know what, there's probably a good idea to get Sora in this franchise. We'd be like, you know what, I think I see where you're coming from. Talk about anything.
Yeah, see, everyone complained about all the spin-offs between Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3. Now the next grand plan is Sora's just going to be in other games until Kingdom Hearts 4. And you have to play all of them to understand the story.
There's a story beat in there somewhere that's important.
Right.
Sora joins Elden Ring. Boom.
Oh,
Done.
my God.
Mm-hmm.
You
You
thought
have
that it
to
was
beat
going to
the
sell
game.
millions? Now it'll sell 1,000,001. You're welcome.
That's right.
For the
Be
one
looking
Sora
forward
fan.
to-
Yeah. That might make me play Elden Ring, actually.
Oh, yeah. Because you weren't sold before. No one really likes Elden Ring.
I will not be playing it, so you guys can all have fun talking about it.
Right.
What do you mean, right? I'm not going to be.
Okay.
I haven't played Sekiro. I have played the original Dark Souls, and that's
Sekiro's
it.
so good.
Sekiro I want to play. I just haven't got to it.
Man, I watched someone beat Sekiro blindfolded the other day.
Yeah,
That was
2-hour
wild.
run, right?
That is ludicrous. Just like pure blind menuing, sound cues, the most precise inputs. It's like I could barely get past the fucking bull before I gave up on that game,
Oh, yeah.
and this dude's doing it blind. Fucking A.
I mean, at that point, it's a lot of muscle memory and like knowing how to reset yourself if you know that you're not on the right track or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh,
you'd
man.
have to. I mean, you would have to have spent so much time, like just learning from memory so that you could remember while you're blindfolded. Like, you have to know every inch and nook and cranny to do that, and that's a level of dedication that is insane.
Right.
I bet if the world map of Sekiro disappeared tomorrow, that speedrunner would just be like, yeah, let's do this. I can tell you where every single fucking blade of grass is.
Give me
Yeah.
half an hour in Photoshop, and I got you.
He needs
Yep.
no textures. All right. Well, let's get into some of the games we've been playing for the past week. Right, you will not stop talking about Lost Ark. In our chat while we're doing this live, you are keeping us updated on the player count of Lost Ark, and you are one of the 1.2 million.
Yes. Yeah.
How's that going?
It's wild. Like I'm
you
literally
playing it right
refreshing
now?
SteamDB over and over again. No. I'm refreshing SteamDB over and over again, and it is 70,000 players away from crossing Dota 2, 80,000 players from crossing CS:GO and becoming the number 2 highest peak for a game on Steam
Woof.
What's the
since
number one?
the launch of Steam, which is crazy.
Number one's PUBG by a lot.
Yeah, I mean, PUBG's 3.25 million users at peak.
Wow.
Lost Ark's
Yeah.
sitting at 1.22 right now. So, this launch looked like it was going to be big in terms of the amount of wish lists. They sold 1.5 million Founders Packs before the game even launched. And it's already a
correct me if
super
I'm wrong.
popular game.
Yeah, the game is free to play, and the Founder Pack just lets you play a few days early, right?
A few days early, you got some skins, some titles, some extra items, and then
Okay.
the Crystalline Aura, which is like the subscription that gives you. It's like you get half cost fast travels and some other stuff. But the main component was early access, and I was talking to someone yesterday and they actually pulled the Founders Packs after release and replaced them with starter packs, which was an interesting... Typically, it's just there's the Founders Pack and that's it. But it looks like they decided, okay, the Founders Pack is pre-launch and the starter pack is post-launch, which was interesting to see. I don't think I've seen that from another game.
Right.
But I played for a couple hours this morning. It is good. I like it a lot. It is very from the voice acting. It is very definitely not Western. But it is.
Is that because they speak in British accents?
No. It's just, yeah, some stereotypes there, but like the combat is solid. You have just an immense amount of skills available for you, and they add a lot into. So it's not like Torchlight, Diablo, where you're basically just constantly running dungeons. There's this large overworld, very similar. I think the best comparison would probably be Path of Exile.
Oh yeah.
In terms of kind of the overworld, and then these little hubs. Fast travel is very similar. But there's a lot more to the game. There's a rapport system to where some of the NPCs across the universe, you can complete daily actions. Like you emote at them, you can give them gifts, you do quests for them. And then as you kind of ramp up that rapport level, you get extra items, extra quests to do, experience, all that stuff. And then there's just a lot of shared components to where your base or your stronghold is shared across all of your characters. There is a shared roster level that every time you go up a level, it adds extra like vitality, charisma, whatever to all of your characters. So it's not you're just leveling one character and then you're stuck with that character. Everything is shared in a way, which makes it easier to jump from class to class if you want and not feel like you're losing a ton of progress. That, and they basically give you 3 boosts up to 50. So you have to do a couple things in game or stuff like that, but it's just, okay, you've maxed out your first character, you've leveled your stronghold up to this point. Okay, cool, just boost this character to 50. And then that character is immediately in the end game. Ooh. So there's a huge emphasis on the end game more so than kind of the journey to level, which I think is a smart thing to do because sometimes the leveling is just so boring in these types of games. So putting that focus on the end game and like exploration and things like that, I think is just a really positive spin on the ARPG genre. And it, based on the numbers, I would say other people agree.
Right.
And I'm definitely interested to see where it goes from here.
So I'm curious, like, what's the end game like exactly? Is it basically, grind to get bigger numbers, you can grind harder places to get bigger numbers, etc.? Like, is that the idea?
It's your typical MMO in game for the most part. There's dungeons that you can run with other people. A lot of them you can run solo, which is nice. So it doesn't, early on there's a couple dungeons that you can do that they have regular and hard mode. So similar to kind of what WoW started doing towards the end there. But I mean, that's kind of the core is basically growing your roster to max level. And then just doing dungeons and building up your stronghold and all that stuff. So there's just a lot more at the end game than some ARPGs have. Right. Probably similar to Diablo and Path of Exile for sure in terms of, okay, you beat the game, there's a lot more that you can do afterwards. So...
Yeah, because I know this game's been out, right, like in the East for a while, because it's Korean made, if I remember right. I'm curious if they're going to do the same thing as Path of Exile, because I mean, I don't know if any of you played Path of Exile recently, or like in the past even, but it's one of those games now where it does feel like so bloated in a way where, like, on the charitable way to put it is like you'll never run out of things to do, because there's always something to do, right? And I'm curious if Lost Ark is going to feel that way like 2-3 years from now, where maybe it's a little bloated, but also like you can play this game forever kind of energy.
Yeah, I mean, it's been out since 2018 in the East, and it is still popular. So, with these kind of numbers, it looks like it's going to have a lot of staying power. Because because there's just so, I mean, every class has 3 to 4 subclasses, so there's so many different play styles you can choose from, and there's guilds and all that stuff. So there's definitely a lot of community driven features that are very beneficial for games of this type.
Interesting.
So I'll definitely be curious to see how the next 2 to 3 months go. But I mean, for having 500,000 people playing before the game even launches through the founder packs, like, that is impressive.
Oh yeah.
That's unheard of. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly making me want to play it because I've been itching for an ARPG like that. Like, I did recently install Path of Exile, but I haven't clicked it yet because I'm just like, do I want to do this again? So I don't know. Maybe I'll check out Lost Ark, and hey, maybe we can start a TechRaptor guild.
Yeah,
and then everyone can join. All of our listeners can join.
Yes, please.
Lame.
Except Otten, he's not allowed.
Right. Well, he doesn't play any more games.
Yeah, he doesn't play games.
I'm
He's
gonna play-
He's still too busy looking for that that picture from Warcraft 3. He doesn't have time.
If
for
anybody,
games.
if anybody knows of, I'll just put a pitch out there. Everybody knows the picture, the massively photoshopped guy, the guy with the huge dick and the waves in the background, the water in the background. He might be standing on a dock, if I remember.
Ooh,
So it's the
all
big
coming
dick
back
on
to
a
you now.
dock. If that's what you need to remember it.
Dude, that sounds like a dirty nursery rhyme.
Oh my gosh.
Hickory Dickory Dock.
We'll make that the clip for this week, and it can just be a call out, like,
The nurse.
reward.
It makes me think of-
reward available. Please find
That's
this.
You call it a clip. It's more of a PSA.
That's right.
Yeah.
We could. The nursery rhymes what? The Hickory Dickory Dock. Help me find the picture of this big cock.
We'll workshop that. There's got to be a more succinct way to say it.
That's just the first draft.
I
The
think
first
so.
pass.
We'll check in next week. We'll see. We'll see where you land.
I really dig that idea of Lost Ark building up
bring it
characters
back.
so quickly, and like giving you that ability, because I have a feeling that that's going to assist the end game so much.
Yeah.
For like, for ease of players who enjoy being a tank, but also have a healer and a DPS. It'll mean in like, looking for group sessions, it can just be like, oh, sure, let me just swap to this character. If like so much is shared, like progress wise. I know that like I got, way back in the day, I got 2 of my characters in DCUO up to max level, but getting that second one up was such a grind. And that's definitely a shorter MMO to get up to max level. But just taking all of that time out and being like, oh, wait, you want to do the fun thing? The fun thing at the end? Here, you can do the fun thing.
Yeah.
That's a great...
Yeah, that's such a much better design philosophy to come forward with stuff. Because like even like the legacy stuff, like WoW, like the alt stuff, having alt character
Exhausting.
and getting everything that they need if they want to do get to the similar stuff that you're doing with your main character. It's just so much fucking work. And especially with how, I mean, I could bitch about what WoW's done lately, but like they've just absolutely killed any incentive for someone to have multiple characters because it just takes so much work. It's not worth it.
From a design standpoint as well, I think, in the same way that, we will look at companies who have review embargoes that are post-launch date, and we'll see that as a sign of a lack of confidence, a lack of support. A company saying, yeah, you can play through the main part of the game once, and then you can skip to the end game activities with other characters. That shows like such a mass level of confidence that they have in the game to be allowing that much of shortcutting of content and still expecting it to just flourish as a title.
Well, like we said, it's been out for 4 years, so it's had a lot of time to
that as well
work
I
on
guess
it.
It's
Formula.
new for us, but it's very old.
Yeah. I mean, and it's interesting too. Like so I was talking with our freelancers that have been working on guides and are still working on guides.
Check out TechRaptor.net for guides on
Yeah,
Lost
exactly.
Ark if you're
We have
interested.
a ton of guides. Our team has absolutely killed it on the guides, but like it's interesting that you're boosting to level 50 essentially. to get into the end game, but the max level is 60. So even you're not even max level during a lot of the end game portion, because 50 to 60 is a huge amount of experience to work through.
Is there another system that kicks in once you hit level 60?
I don't know.
Okay.
I am like level 20 right now.
Okay. Because like Destiny, you get to level cap really fast.
Yep.
And then it's all about light levels, and it's just, what extra gear system might be on top of that level 60 that's then gonna push players further.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
The big one is strongholds, so building up like your fort of operations essentially, which there are buildings within there, from what I understand, that also help passively level your other characters in some way, shape, or form. And then there's crafting, trade skills, the rapport system. So there's just a lot there that post game you can kind of just keep incrementally building up your characters. I'm excited to get to that point. I'll be playing a game that comes out early March for most of the next couple weeks, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Not Lost Ark.
Not Lost Ark.
It's a shame.
Much worse than that.
Scrappy, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Sifu.
Yeah.
That game's hard as shit.
That was going to be the first question. Difficulty discourse has once again plagued the gaming Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, it is fun. It is very fun. I've been describing it as like, what if someone made an Arkham style combat game, but the developers want to hurt you, and that's kind of what this game is.
Have you tried getting good?
I have. It's hard to do that.
Okay.
And there's a little more to it. Like, it's honestly, there's a lot more depth than the Arkham style combat, because Arkham style is like you keep mashing one button until the prompt shows up to hit the other button. This is like you have light and heavy attacks, but then there's also like if you flick the direction, like the controller direction stick in certain ways, kind of like DMC, like Devil May Cry, you do different attacks. Or also like, square, square, triangle, or XXY is like a different combo, like that sort of thing. But
This
you're
is
just
the same company that made Absolver, right?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I never
yeah,
played
yeah.
Absolver, so I don't have like comparison of that. But this is like you're just a martial artist. Like your Sifu, your teacher dies, so you're trying to avenge them. It's a pretty basic story. But basically the gameplay loop is you walk into a room, everyone's like, "The fuck are you doing here?" You say something badass and then beat the shit out of all of them. And then you go to the next room and do the same
It's the
thing.
way to live your life, honestly.
Yeah, and all of the martial arts, I mean, it all looks cool. I don't know enough about martial arts necessarily to be like, oh, and it's authentic. But you know what? It looks cool as shit, and they do this cool like thing in the opening where it's like opening credits where you beat up all the bosses, and it's like really easy mode to like. So you're playing the opening sequence.
Oh, they
but then
lull you into a false sense, those bastards.
exactly, and then you get into the game, and you're like, oh no, I'm gonna die all the time. Yeah. So there's this weird aging mechanic where when you die, like your death counter goes up by 1, and then if you revive, your age goes up by whatever your death counter is. So you start at 20 years old, and if you hit 70 or higher, you can't respawn anymore. And you do age as the game goes on, and like every time you hit a multiple of 10, you get stronger, but you get more fragile too. Like you can't take as many hits. So it's this weird thing of like the more you die, the stronger you become, kind of, as long as you don't take damage, which is hard because you're always, at least I'm always taking damage. It's hard to parry and dodge a lot of shit because you have to be like, you have to read the martial arts in a way where it's like you have to know if they're going to sweep your leg, or you know if they're going to like come up with an overhead, right?
Sometimes you need to wax on, sometimes you need to wax off.
Sometimes you do, yeah.
Well, and it's interesting too. One of the achievements is to beat the game under age 25,
My
which
God.
is, from what I understand, a pretty difficult thing to do.
Like at most you can die 5 times with that, but
What happens if you get to 70 and you die? Is that just like game over, start from the beginning, or?
it's game over. And it's this weird thing where, so there are only 5 levels as I understand it. I've only unlocked the first 2. Like after you beat one, you unlock the next one. But so like I beat the first level at age 26, right? And then the second level, I'm still struggling to get through it. So I always get to 70 and then die. I could go back to the first level and run it again which I did, and then I beat it at age 23. So now I can start level 2 at age 23, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So if I beat level 2 at age like 54, then I could start level 3 at 54, or I could go back to 2 and like clean up my run, you know, make it better or die less often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's definitely, I think, more about the journey and the destination. Like, I'm not that invested in like I need to know what happens at the end. It's more like I'm loving the combat system. It's very cool. And if you're a fan of martial arts films, I bet there's a lot here that you're gonna love. Like, there's a scene in the first level where you walk into a long hallway and it's filled with dudes, and they're all giving you the look. And I'm like, oh, they're doing an Old Boy, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you walk forward and they, like, you know, they're like, hey, what are you doing here? And then you can either just punch them right in the face or you can like say something, right? And then the minute combat starts, the camera perspective shifts to like the side-scrolling hallway style, like from the movie. Yeah, it's very cool.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Good homage.
Sifu seems great. The mechanical stuff is always so interesting because it's trying to do some new stuff.
Yes.
And I think it all sounds like it makes sense. Like, it's definitely hard, like from what I understand, but like it's not. And I haven't played it, but it's not like a cheap hard way. It's like, no, I fucked up.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very like you want to learn the mechanics because you know the mechanics are the key to winning. Like, I think the thing that I find hardest to get my head around is so the left bumper is your dodge and your parry button. So if you tap it at the right moment, you parry, which is a very short window, right? But then if you hold it and then move the left stick in any direction, you dodge in that direction. But you usually keep your feet planted unless they're doing a leg sweep, which you can jump over. So the idea is like, okay, so if you ideally want to parry, right, to knock them off balance, but if you don't, then you can hold down the button and keep like dodging in the direction where you think is the best direction to dodge, right? So mapping both functions on that is like tricky to understand, but I get why they do it. I think it's just a matter of like you need to practice to really land it.
Sounds fantastic. Sounds amazing. And I know our review's up. Austin, I think, gave it a 9 or something. He really liked it. So it seems like a fun time.
Yeah, no, I'm really digging it.
Frustrating, but fun.
It is frustrating for sure, but when you do those moments where you like read a move and you dodge it perfectly, and then you fucking nail a sick combo.
I'm a fucking karate master.
Yeah, you know,
and
you
then
just
you
do
get your shit rocked next.
Yeah, like I've been fighting these monks and they're like so fast, and I'm like, oh god, this is tough. But like the moment where you can like do a couple like quick palm strikes and then like roundhouse them to the ground, and then you just fucking beat the shit out of them on the ground, it's like, dude, this is cool. This is a good game.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah. I'm glad that, because I was wondering, it really gave that vibe off when they were showing it before it came out in the trailers and stuff. It's like, man, is it going to nail that feeling? And it seems like they did. And I don't think there's a way to nail that feeling without making it as punishing as it is. You know what I mean? Like, because there's got to be some consequence to, otherwise then it just becomes a regular old beat 'em up where you just fuck a bunch of guys up.
Yeah, because like Arkham style combat, like you think of it a lot as like, sure, you're surrounded by a bunch of dudes, but everyone takes their turn.
Yep.
You know, they like never gang up on you. Like very rarely do they. And usually you can just counter it all anyway, right? Like it doesn't feel like you're being ganged up on. Whereas here, even 2 dudes can fuck you up because they don't take turns. They just kind of keep coming at you.
Yeah.
So if you don't parry well, or like, you know, God forbid you're in a corner where you can't even move, like you're going to get your shit rocked.
Huh.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm loving the game that they've identified what they want to be and have made their mechanics match that in a really good way.
For sure.
Yeah.
Basically like a karate movie simulator in a way, which is great.
You were saying this stuff about like the hallway and the flicking and of the stick to do different attacks and stuff, and I'm just sitting back here thinking, man, like they should partner up with the John Wick IP.
Yes.
Like that would be something.
Yeah, I've never seen the John Wick movies, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are some things in this game that are like an homage to a John Wick scene or something like that.
Yeah,
because it's just.
You haven't seen John Wick?
No.
What the hell?
That's your homework for next week.
Okay.
You got to see that, and you've got to see the Uncharted movie.
Right? Yeah, that and the Uncharted movie. While Otten works on his Hickory Dickory Dock rhyme.
That's right.
But yeah, I think that brings this week's episode to a close. We hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please feel free to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. And if you're watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. That would be really nice. And let us know down below, what have you been playing this week? Or what was your favorite announcement from Nintendo Direct? Was it the Mario Kart stuff? Was it Xenoblade 2, 3? Or was it that you were sad about Breath of the Wild not showing up? Let us know down below. We will be back next week, but if you can't wait that long, you can go to TechRaptor.net, where we always are posting news, features, reviews, etc. throughout the week. We'll see you next Monday. Bye.